George Washington was one of America's greatest presidents. He was also one of its richest. By today's standards, he was worth in the region of $570 to $600 million. He was also a substantial landowner and slave owner. He owned about 20,000 acres, most of it acquired through marriage and inheritance. As a child, he was educated by private tutors who reported that he was quite good at mathematics and literature. As a teenager, he qualified as a land surveyor and became highly skilled at drawing maps and sketches, which he found useful later as a military commander. Washington was born in 1832, and by the early 50s, he had joined the local militia in his home state of Virginia. By 1854, at the age of 22, he had become an army colonel in the French and Indian War. The French and British were battling each other for control of the territory in the Ohio region. The French were greatly outnumbered and so relied heavily on the local native population for assistance. Colonel Washington had his first military experience of war in these battles. In 1854, he was defeated and forced to surrender at the Battle of Fort Necessity. This was his first major setback in the early stages of his military career. However, a year later, he was promoted to the rank of commander following the death of General Edward Braddock in 1755. In the following years, Washington, as commander of the Virginia Regiment, won a number of important battles and protected the colony of Virginia from attack. By 1761, the French had lost all of their territory, and they finally agreed to total withdrawal in the Treaty of Paris, 1763. On a personal level also, George Washington had been quite successful. Unfortunately, in 1752, his stepbrother Lawrence died, and 7 years later, Washington married a rich young widow named Martha Curtis. By the age of 30, therefore, through inheritance and marriage, Washington had become one of the richest landowners in Virginia, with a plantation of over 20,000 acres and over 500 enslaved people. His war hero status added to his prestige, and in 1765, he won a seat representing Fairfax County in the colony of Virginia. He also built Mount Vernon, which became a focal point for many political and social gatherings. It's a tourist attraction for many Americans to this day. By the late 1760s, Washington became increasingly aware of the extreme anger in the colonies, with the British Parliament attempting to recover their war losses through increased taxation. Incidents like the Boston Massacre in 1770 created intense anger, and delegates like John Adams were demanding that there should be no taxation without representation.